Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing another Slapped Hand video titled Video Proof: Creepy Dolls Caught Moving on Camera. Now, honestly, I really didn't want to do this, not just simply because, a lot of the videos that we've seen with this, we've pretty much debunked. It's just dolls, y'all. Dolls, that's one thing I will say creep me out more than anything. Now, I've been in several haunted locations. I've been in situations dealing with like real animals and everything that should be considered a little bit scary. But oh my God, y'all, dolls, they just creep me out. Now, let me know if any of y'all feel the same way about them. I mean, come on, those dead eyes, that lifeless stare at you. But it still looks as if they're just watching you wherever you go in a room. It's just creepy, you know? Anyway, while I still got my, I still got my little bravery up a little bit, let's go ahead and dive on in this one, shall we?
The scariest thing about window shopping is often the hairy price tags. However, according to this video from YouTube channel The Hidden Underbelly 2.0, shoppers who look at one window display in Chihuahua, Mexico might find themselves worried about a little more than just maxing out their credit cards. In this video, we see two young women on a sunny street in Mexico. As they look into a shop front window, something eerie happens. Watch. If you look closely at the mannequin's eyes, you can see them shift slightly. These women are not the first to be terrified by this mannequin. She's known as La Pascualita, and she's been gracing the shop's windows since March of 1930. Locals were instantly abuzz with gossip about this mannequin, shocked at how lifelike it appears. Her hands, in particular, struck locals as uncanny, as traces of veins could be seen through the dewy skin. The gossip reached a fever pitch when people began talking about how much the mannequin resembled the shop owner's daughter, the daughter who had only recently passed away from the bite of a black widow spider not long before she was supposed to be married. Rumours began to circulate speculating that La Pascualita wasn't a mannequin at all, but rather the pristinely embalmed body of the shop owner's daughter. It wasn't long before passers-by began reporting that they had seen the mannequin moving, particularly its eyes. Because of the rumours about the mannequin's grisly origins, many now believe that the spirit of the shop owner's daughter is still attached to the shop, watching people pass by through the mannequin's eyes. So is this uncanny mannequin really the well-preserved body of a bride who died too young, or is it simply a loving tribute from a grieving father? Watch the clip again and come to your own conclusions.
Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I really didn't see where these eyes would really move. I think more of a sense of light playing on the glass to make it look like it kind of moves. But that mannequin is very lifelike compared to the ones that we have nowadays in shops and everything around the world, basically. Unless you have some places that have the older mannequins that actually do look more lifelike, more human. I feel back then, a lot more people actually took pride in the work that they would do and the displays that they would create and everything. Don't get me wrong. We do have a lot of places where people do take their pride in displays in their window shops. During holiday season, they'll make it real festive and nice and everything like that. I'm not trying to diss anything that we have, nowadays compared to back then. But just looking at that mannequin from the 30s, it's really nice quality, very lifelike. And I've seen quite a few of them in like older movies and things like that where they do have the mannequins that just look so eerily lifelike. One of the places that's more creepier, in my opinion, than that mannequin there would probably be Madame Tussauds wax museum. I mean, just the work and craftsmanship there, it just seems remarkable, kind of almost reminiscent of the movie House of Wax, but that's besides the point. Anyway, as for another part of the video that he talked about how the women looked terrified and everything. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, one of them wasn't even paying attention to the window shop, so I don't know what he was talking about there. Let's move on to the next one.
Antiquing is a popular pastime, and often trips to antique stores can lead to some truly amazing finds. When YouTuber Muna Bruzon saw something at an antique fair that they just had to have, they had no idea what they were getting themselves into. In 2017, this YouTuber visited an antique fair and instantly spotted an old doll. The doll's eyes seemed to follow them everywhere they went. Intrigued, they purchased the doll and took it home, hoping to prove that it was more than just their imagination. They immediately began recording footage in hopes of capturing proof of the doll's supernatural nature. The toy didn't disappoint. If we watch that again, we can see the doll's head turn to look at them for several seconds before turning away. The owner's hands are nowhere near the doll's head when it turns. They set the doll down and continue to examine it, this time moving its head manually to see if there's any logical explanation for how the head was able to turn on its own. As the owner manipulates the head, the doll's eerily lifelike eyes appear to move to stay focused on the person holding it. Some dolls are made with weighted eyelids that can open and close on their own, but there's no easy explanation for how its eyes could move completely on their own. The person who purchased this doll felt like it was calling out to them in the store by following them with its eyes. The video footage seems to confirm this suspicion. So is this doll really haunted? Is it somehow possessed, perhaps by the spirit of a former owner? Or is there another way to explain the footage? Let me know your theories in the comment section down below.
So y'all, for this one I did a little bit of research, and of course, weighted eyes and everything for baby dolls have been around since the 1800s. So this right here, it looks pretty much like an antique doll, of course. It's something that looks like maybe 30s, 40s. I'm not 100% sure. These things creep me out no matter how old they are. But anyway, so you think about it. If they had weighted eyes, that weight can get kind of not just where it will open and close the little eyelids on the doll, but it would also have the eyes where they can move when you adjust it. You think about it. Tilt the doll one way, the weights are going to move one way, so the eyes will move, the lids will close, and everything like that. So that part, is pretty self-explanatory, especially since these seem, like I said, it's an antique doll, so it has the weighted eyes for it. And Now for the head turning and everything, this might be one of the ones that has a bit of like a mechanism in it, where if you maybe squeeze the doll, because we can't see what her hand's doing. Her hand looks like it may be just holding the doll, but it could be squeezing the doll, and that squeezing could move and tilt the head just a little bit. So this right here, nothing really paranormal about it, but it is creepy as hell. So let's move on.
This video from the YouTube channel Obscura shows yet another mannequin doing something that should be physically impossible. This video was recorded on a cell phone camera by someone waiting outside a strip mall on a grey, rainy day. It's unclear what made them pull out their camera in the first place, but they seem to be clearly focused on a nearby storefront featuring two mannequins. Watch what they caught. As you can see, the seated mannequin's head turns to face the camera. Even without a face, it seems to be staring straight at the person in the car. Viewers of this video have come up with several theories about what's going on. Some viewers suspect a simple trick of the eye, theorizing that a raindrop sliding down the car's window could have created a strange shadow or a refraction that made it seem as if the mannequin's head had moved. Others think that the video was simply a setup, suggesting that a person in a white bodysuit was posing as a mannequin inside of the shop. Still, others are certain that the mannequin is somehow haunted or possessed. No matter what's going on here, the video is undoubtedly creepy. Anyone would be unnerved by a blank, featureless face turning to stare at them directly through the hazy rain. So is this mannequin haunted, or is it just a trick of the light? Tell us what you think down below.
Now, if I seen this in real life, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have been pulling out my phone to video record it by any chance. I would have run to the hills, if y'all know what I mean. But, since this person didn't, and we got this lovely yet creepy video for it, I guess we might as well dive in and look at it, So, a lot of people are talking about the light refraction with the rain and everything, because it was raining. But I looked at this several times, and you actually do see the contours of the quote-unquote mannequin head adjusting. So, you seen where it had like a kind of like a slant where it was the nose, and then it did turn its head because that little protuberance of where the nose would have been on that mannequin was no longer there. It moved to a smoother surface, and I double checked it to make sure it wasn't water that might have slipped down and everything like that, but I didn't really see it that way. I saw it as more of what everybody else was saying, that it's probably a person in a white bodysuit dressed up as a mannequin. Now, you think that might be something interesting for these high-end designer sort of stores and things like that for their front windows. Y'all seen these videos of these street performers and everything like that. They don't move. Some of them, they paint themselves gold and everything. They look like a damn statue. You barely see them breathe. And it's only when people interact with them after a bit that they actually move or do something, So maybe that's what they had. They had somebody who's a street performer. They decided, hey, you know what? Instead of having to change out our mannequins every so often, maybe every day, because I know some of them, they will really go into the window displays to, make it more eye-catching, more appealing, and they change up their mannequins and everything like that. So instead of having to sit there and get tons of mannequins and sit there and spend the hours of just fixing it and rearranging it, why not just pay somebody to spend maybe 10 hours on your in your display and have them display the clothing? It's less time and hassle if you think about it, because you're not paying for extra mannequins or extra mannequin parts, and if they accidentally happen to fall and break, you need to replace it. And all you gotta do, hire one extra person, have them sit in a white bodysuit, and you can have them move whenever you want. You could be like, okay, Terry, I need you tomorrow instead of sitting down. I hope you're okay with this, but we need you like standing up with your one foot on this box here, and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they probably might come out cheaper than buying a whole bunch of mannequins and possibly accidentally breaking it, and also having the man hours to come in and rearrange the display. So it's food for thought on that one, but I will say that this is somebody dressed up in a white bodysuit. So let's go on to the next one, shall we? See what we got there.
YouTuber Smith doesn't really believe in ghosts, so when the doll that they kept on their old chase began acting strangely, they were at a loss for an explanation. The YouTuber and their wife were out browsing a flea market when they came across this old composition doll. Prior to the 1940s, these dolls were made of a composite of sawdust, glue, and other materials such as cornstarch, resin, or wood flour to increase their durability. You're much more likely to find one of these dolls sitting around an old flea market than you are to spot a more fragile porcelain doll. This particular doll isn't in great shape, with some of the material peeling off its legs. This isn't uncommon for a composite doll, though they were marketed as unbreakable. The composite material began to deteriorate over time. Despite its less than pristine condition, the couple happily took their new friend home and made it comfortable on their old chase. That's when things started to get freaky. Take a look. Much to their surprise, the doll began moving on its own, slowly raising its right arm into the air above its head. These old dolls had no mechanical parts, so there's no simple explanation for how it could be moving. With absolutely no information about this specific doll, they had no idea what to think. The doll's new owner turned to the internet for answers. Some skeptics think that the video could be a hoax. Because of the way the camera and the doll are placed, it wouldn't be too hard for an accomplice to stand off screen, moving the doll's arm with an invisible piece of wire or string. However, others are certain that this creepy old doll is haunted. This is an older clip and no new information has surfaced since filming, so for now this mystery remains unsolved.
Now, somebody correct me in the comments below if I am incorrect on this, but I don't think a chase lounge is A, that kind of thin, and B, I don't think that it moves underneath a blanket or throw. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, if I'm wrong, but I don't ever recall any of those happening on a chase lounge I've ever seen before. So, this is quite easily dismissed because it looks more like somebody put a throw over themselves and have that baby kind of, them sitting down in a chair themselves and then having that baby doll. Like they put that throw on, then they put throw the baby doll on it. And then they're coming up behind the blanket and sitting there and moving the hand up. Because if y'all go back in and watch it again, because if you see it, let me know if you saw it in the comments. Where the hand, it looks like a bump moving up that throw or blanket, whatever it is. And it's slightly raising the arm on that baby doll. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe a chase lounge doesn't react in that sort of manner, simply put. So I think we got this one taken care of here, so let's go on to the next.
Ventriloquist Andy Gross is certainly used to being surrounded by dummies that others might find a little creepy. In this video that he shared to his YouTube channel, Andy Gross Live, he has his first taste of being freaked out by his own dummies. In the video's introduction, Andy states that he's noticed the dummies in a certain case in his home changing position while he's away.
Lately, when I've been coming back for some of my shows, these guys have changed positions. Now, I don't mean just a little bit. I mean like this guy here with the black hat. His head was actually turned all the way around last week when I came home. The guy on the end in the white right there, he was laying down inside the case.
He suspects that his wife or one of his children might be trying to mess with him, so he decides to set up a hidden camera during his next trip away to hopefully catch the culprit in the act. What he sees on the footage, though, is not at all what he expected. Upon returning home, he notices that one of the dummies' heads seems to have moved. He reviews the footage, expecting to see a member of the household sneaking into the room and moving the doll. Unfortunately, he sees something much creepier.
Just gets me every time. I mean, so weird and creepy.
As you can see, the dummy's head moves completely on its own.
Right?
The way it moves couldn't have been due to gravity alone, and Andy states that he's checked the doll's mechanism closely, but nothing about it seems unusual.
Ooh, this is kind of strange. Here we go. Hi. Just a normal puppet.
So what could have caused this dummy to move on its own? Ventriloquists typically give their dummies personalities during their acts, but seeing one move without its owner nearby is certainly unnerving. Of course, many viewers have suspected that it's all just a prank. After all, ventriloquists put on shows to entertain. However, Andy has maintained that this isn't a setup and that he was quite freaked out by the footage. Andy ends the video stating that he plans to capture more secret footage, and if it happens again, he's going to move house. Probably a good idea.
Unfortunately, I have seen this video before. First off, my whole thing is, I don't think I could have a room full of those ventriloquist dolls. I mean, come on, they're kind of creepy. I mean, I had a friend of mine give me a Slappy doll one time before, and they, from Goosebumps, that Slappy doll. Yeah, no, had it just for a little bit, and then a friend of mine's kid asked if they could have it because they really liked the Goosebump books and everything, so I gave it to them. Yeah, I wasn't sad to see it go, needless to say. But anyway, now this one, if I recall correctly, this was found out to be a hoax, because I have seen this one before. This was a few years back, and as some of y'all probably know, this video is kind of old. I decided to go back and do a little bit more of the older videos and get something a little bit more fresh, something that ain't been seen in a hot minute. So anyway, I do believe that this one was found out to be a hoax, because, I mean, quite honestly, it looks like he's got them up in an aquarium. I'd rather have fish in there, but besides the point. Y'all saw how big and how large the wooden structure is underneath where he has those dummies. Very easy to have somebody hiding up in there and having the hand shoved up into that doll's back. I guess that's where your hand goes in those anyway. And easy to move, and manipulate that head. And I do believe that's what was going on. It was one of those type of things where he wanted a little extra more publicity and try to get what's the best way to get publicity? Say something was haunted. So, yeah, I think that was mainly it with that. It was found to be a hoax. Now, leave it in the comments if I'm wrong on this one, that I may be thinking about somebody else, but I do believe it was this video. So, simply put, it's a big old aquarium, and you could, basically, it's a big old aquarium. That's what it looks like to me. You sit underneath that wooden area, nobody ain't gonna see you. And you just film a simple little short video clip that you say you supposedly put security cameras up to make sure that, like a 24/7 thing. We don't know for certain because we ain't there. We don't see any timestamps on this. So, I mean, if anything, he could have got somebody to edit it up nicely where almost like, the old school stop motion claymation cartoons from back in the day. Perfect example of that would be Gumby. And, you don't ever see the hands that manipulate that, but basically they would shutter click that whole thing and then adjust, shutter click, adjust, shutter click, adjust. And, that's painstaking work, but it does end up in the end making a seamless transition of Gumby and his friends moving. So this could also be this case in point too. So there's two different ways that this could be done. And like I said, if I'm not right on this being the video that was a hoax, leave it in the comments below and let's just move on to the next.
In June 2021, paranormal investigators Lalo Escalante decided to search a local cemetery in Culiacan, Mexico. They had heard rumours of strange things happening on the property. Locals often report hearing screams and spot unusual shadowy figures walking through the property late at night. The most unsettling story revolves around a supposed haunted doll that sits in one of the graves. It's said to come alive and move among the tombstones. Under the glow of a full moon, the investigators explore the graveyard.
Es el día que los brujos su trabajo lo hacen efectivo. Es ese día, güey.
For the first 10 minutes or so, the YouTubers appear on edge. They claim to hear strange noises coming from all directions of the cemetery.
¿Alguien ahí? ¿Está haciendo algo? No se cansa de ver nada. No se cansa de ver la luna llena, güey.
After exploring for some time, they come across a mausoleum and look inside to find a tall doll with lengthy blonde hair standing next to a large cross and flowers.
Ay, la madre. Estoy cagado, güey. Estoy que le recagado, güey.
What happens next is sure to give you the chills. Watch.
Amigos, eso estaba así. No mames. No mames. ¿Crees que la abrió ella, güey? Pero qué pedo, güey. Esto se abrió sola, cabrón. No mames. La muñeca se movió, Chicho. Chicho se movió, güey, la muñeca, güey. La madre, güey. La madre, güey. Ay, güey. A la mierda.
As you can see, the doll appears to move inside the sealed mausoleum.
La muñeca se movió, Chicho. Chicho se movió, güey, la muñeca, güey. La madre, güey.
There's no doubt about it, viewers have been terrified by this clip. There seems to be no way that the doll could move without the explanation of something otherworldly. To make this incident even scarier, a month prior, a separate group of urban explorers known as Urbex MX captured the exact same doll moving on its own. Take a look.
Ay, mamacita, se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey.
This incident was captured during a live stream. Hundreds of viewers watched in real time as the doll moved inside the mausoleum.
Ay, mamacita, se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey.
So is this graveyard home to restless spirits? And is this doll really possessed by some unknown entity? According to these two separate accounts, it would appear so.
Ay, mamacita, se movió, güey. Se movió, güey. Se movió, güey.
Now, this is the last clip of the episode for today. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode so far. Before I get into what I think about this particular video, or should I say two videos. So I just hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe, y'all, because it only helps bring more of it. Anyway, let's dive on into this one, shall we? So, they say this is in a cemetery in Mexico. Mausoleums, spooky, perfect time for this because we are in the spooky season. But I just got a couple of things here that I have a little problem with. First off, it's always sad to see, toys on gravesites or at mausoleums and everything, because that indicates to me that the person who has done passed on was kind of young. But while that is sad, there's a few things that kind of pull my attention. They say first that this thing is known to walk amongst the tombstones. We don't see any evidence of that. It's stuck in its mausoleum, from what I see. And there are tons and tons of flowers at the base of this doll on the floor of the mausoleum. So, I'm wondering, because I'm pretty more than certain that some of this is also live vegetation, and nighttime does get a little cool. So there could be something hiding up in those flowers, for a little warmth, or maybe hiding from its natural predators, because, of course, you got the nocturnal animals who come about and find easy prey on field mice and everything that will scurry about. So, we never see the bottom of this doll. And it's not like its head's moving or anything like that. It looks kind of like it adjusts, kind of like maybe something done bumped into it and possibly let it slide down a little bit, or kind of on the second one it had ended up pushing it up a little bit. So this is easily explained away as more so of an animal situation that's causing these movements, because like I said, you can't see the bottom half of the doll. All you really see is, I'm assuming it's probably about 3 feet tall. So you're seeing maybe the upper 2/3 of it, while the rest of it is down amongst the flowers. So it's very easy that it can be maneuvered and manipulated by something, even if it's not the people who are doing it, because they did seem like they were pretty scared and might need a change of drawers after this one. But anyway, like I said, that's probably more than likely an animal going through there, sliding about and scurrying about, and you can't see it, so therefore it does look paranormal. So, well, like I say, that's it for it, and I'll see y'all next time.